Hey guys, welcome back to day 5 of NBA in the Bubble. We've got 6 games to cover off today, so let's get right on into it. With game 1, we have the Toronto Raptors versus the Miami Heat. This was a great game to start a great day of basketball. The first half was incredibly tight, with both teams going at one another for what could be a preview of a potential second round playoff matchup. The Raptors came out of the halftime break with purpose and sought to build a solid lead. However, with key three-point shooting and great second half production from Bam Adebayo, the Heat were able to stay in the game and even take the lead early in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, both teams go back and forth, trading blow for blow. It was a one-point game with nothing but change left on the clock. However, unfortunate turnovers in the last 30 seconds led to the Heat losing this game. The final score, 107-103. Raptors win by 4. The player of this game and also the surprise performer of this game is Fred VanVleet. He was able to score 36 points to go along with 5 rebounds and 4 assists. Most notably, he was able to make it to the free throw line 13 times and absolutely punished Miami by making all 13 free throws. Let's keep the ball rolling and head right into game 2. Here we have the Denver Nuggets versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. The NBA restart has been full of nail-biting games, and this was no exception. Thunder and Nuggets were close the entire game, with neither team able to lead by more than 7 points during regulation. Both teams played incredible defense. However, with some questionable calls, both teams had 5 players with 4 or more fouls. Although the Nuggets as a whole struggled to find offense, they were kept in the game by an outstanding offensive performance by Michael Porter Jr. with his career high of 37 points to go along with 12 rebounds. He had an outstanding night, shooting 75% from the field and 67% from 3, while making all his attempts at the free throw line. However, the Thunder were able to stick it out in a fourth quarter that can only be described as tight. Many of the thanks go to the young guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. With the Thunder down by 1, Chris Paul misses a critical free throw. He makes a second to tie the game, ultimately sending the game to overtime. Denver did a great job at taking control of the extra period right out of the gates, led almost entirely by the Joker, who had a favorable matchup against Steven Adams, who historically struggles to guard bigs that can shoot. The Thunder had no answer for Jokic and lost this game. The final score, 121-113. Nuggets win by 8. Although Michael Porter Jr. had a great game, the player of this game is Nikola Jokic with a 30-point triple-double and an incredible clutch time performance to lead his team to the win. The Thunder were missing Dennis Schroeder, Terrence Ferguson, and Mike Muscala. However, Abdul Nader really stepped up to the plate in their absence. He ends his night with 13 points, shooting 83% from the field. Now, onto Game 3, in which we have the Indiana Pacers versus the Washington Wizards. With the Wizards losing yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets, they had fallen even further from their goal of being 4 games within the 8th seed. With a 6-game deficit, it was critical for the Wizards to be able to take away a win. And for most of the first half, it looked like they were going to do just that. They were able to keep the game tight, even leading by 7 points midway through the second quarter. However, tough defense made it very apparent that the Wizards were outclassed. For the rest of the game, they could hardly buy a bucket, being down by as much as 22 points. The Pacers were well and truly seated in the driver's seat. The final score of this game, 111-100. Pacers win by 11. And with this win, the Pacers all but kill the Wizards' playoff hopes. For Washington to be able to make the postseason, they will have to win all of their remaining games and hope the Nets go on a dire losing streak. With Oladipo missing this game, TJ Warren turned up big for 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists to go along with 3 steals and 4 blocks. Talk about getting it done on both ends. After a career scoring night in his last game, I would still say that TJ Warren performed even better today. Let's dive right into Game 4. Here, we have the Memphis Grizzlies facing up against the New Orleans Pelicans as they battle for the 8th seed. The Pelicans started the first period really well and were able to grow a solid lead. However, fouls and turnovers allowed the Grizzlies to get back into the game late in the first quarter. This game had a critical feeling for both teams. Although the Grizzlies were struggling to score the basketball, following a timely timeout in the third quarter, the Grizzlies came back on and something seemed to have clicked. They began to once again eat at the lead the Pelicans had so diligently created. They even led late in the third quarter. You could tell that the back-to-back was wearing on Memphis. Ja really struggled to find his offense tonight. and they ultimately weren't able to keep up the defensive hustle that kept them in the game earlier on. They trailed for the remainder of the game. Zion played extended minutes, and it was great to see him utilized down the stretch in a tight game. However, the X factor for the Pelicans tonight was Brandon Ingram, who really got it going in the fourth quarter. The final score, 99-109. Pelicans win by 10. As mentioned, the player of this game was Brandon Ingram, who ends the night with 24 points, 10 of which coming in crunch time. Although Ja also struggled to score the ball tonight, Lonzo Ball was tonight's biggest disappointment, as he has just played his third consecutive game struggling to find scoring. He needs to start making more of his shots, and it would be good to see him driving to the rim as opposed to just spotting up for 3-point shots. If the Pelicans want to make the playoffs and be anything more than a first round exit, every single player will need to turn up every single night. This goes double for Lonzo Ball, who has such high expectations after we have seen flashes of his elite potential throughout the season. Well, let's head right on into Game 5. We have the San Antonio Spurs versus the Philadelphia 76ers. You're going to get tired of hearing me say this, but this was another cracking game. For San Antonio, who have recently landed in the 9th seed in the West, they aim to solidify their position as they strive to keep their playoff streak alive. Both teams go back and forth in the first half, but behind some incredible offensive performances from the Philadelphia 76ers, they were able to stay in the lead for the entire second half, with 5 different players scoring well into the double digits. Unfortunately for Philadelphia, they couldn't breathe easy, as the Spurs had 5 players that did exactly the same. The Spurs make a late fourth quarter push to try and regain control of the game. The Spurs try and smother Joel Embiid's offense with double team, but unfortunately that wasn't enough to stop him. He ends his night with 27, 9 and 5. DeRozan plays blow for blow with Embiid, also putting up 30 points on the night. With this performance, the Spurs are actually able to seize the lead late in the fourth quarter, leading by as much as 4 points with 1 minute to go. With 20 seconds to go, Joel Embiid gets the ball at the baseline and is able to draw a foul. He makes one and misses the other to make it a 1-point game. The Spurs have the lead, 129-128, 20 seconds on the clock. The Sixers are forced to foul Derek White, who makes one and misses one, making it a 2-point game with 10 seconds left. The Sixers have it down at the other end. On an inbound play where Shake Milton inbounds the ball, he gets it right back as no one picks him up. He's left open and he drills a timely 3. The 76ers take the lead with 6 seconds left on the clock. Although the Spurs have a timeout and advance the ball, DeRozan is unable to get his shot to drop. The Spurs turn it over, which effectively ends the game. The final score, 130-132. 76ers win by 2 in a nail-biting thriller. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Utah Jazz. I told you would get sick of hearing me say it, but this one was another cracking game. Neither team led by more than 7 points until late in the third quarter, when the Lakers began to take control of this game, behind an incredible offensive performance from Anthony Davis, who ends his night with 42 points and 12 rebounds, to go along with 3 steals and a block. Even the elite defense of Rudy Gobert wasn't enough to keep Anthony Davis in check. This ultimately leads to a second straight Jazz loss. The final score in this game, 116-108. The Lakers win by 8. Although it is quite obvious that Anthony Davis is the player of this game, I believe that Spider Mitch should have an honorable mention, as he ends his night with 33 points, 5 rebounds and 4 assists. And again, this is another sneak peek at a potential second round matchup in the playoffs. And if this is anything like what the postseason is going to look like, I am absolutely ecstatic and looking forward to watching some more great NBA basketball. Thanks once again for tuning in. Make sure you let us know what your thoughts are on the episode and how we can improve as we seek to produce quality content to deliver to you guys on a timely basis. While you're down there in the comment section, might as well leave us a like and subscribe for more NBA content like this.